Hello, everybody. I'm put this off. It's the cloth I put in front of the camera because I don't trust the camera isn't off all the time. It actually has a light. It's a Logitech C922, I think. Um, and it has a light that tells you when it's actually on. So I can almost trust it, but it's not quite. So I put a black cloth over the camera. So that's why sometimes you see me taking it off. Anyways, okay. So, oh yeah, let me pull up what you call it. Oh, that's right. I forgot. I have to. Wait a second. I'm gonna check something. Where is it? Okay, there it is. Okay, let's check the and thing first. Well, that's interesting. YouTube's receiving that. That's interesting. Okay, let's do it like this. Pop out chat. I don't get why Kick doggone it. Why does this thing always show up? This deleted. That didn't show it. That didn't do anything. Okay, so let me go into the social stream dashboard again. Stream again. Apparently I don't need to pop out the YouTube chat to be able to use it. Okay, so that's good. Okay, and I guess everything seems to be working here. I won't really know how many users I got unless I have something that does that. Supposedly Social Stream Ninja does that. I haven't figured out how to do that. So I just won't worry about it, at least right now. Um, what is... Oh, I see. I see. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to... Actually, the first thing I want to do is not open that. I want to open this. Okay, so yeah, we're still dealing with text. Apologies. Okay, let me look here for a second. All right. So I'm gonna figure out where to put decision points. I have kind of an idea. Let's see. It's as soon as the guy starts seeing them. They follow into the cellar. It's the guard. They decided free shackles and chains. After the freeing her, they go back upstairs. So this is where I'm going to put a decision point. Now, I don't know if you know anything about. Okay, so there's probably not anybody in here, but when you check the video on the VODs on the various sites that actually have them, I don't know if Twitch and Kick are doing that. I know Twitch has a recording capability. I don't know if that's automatically there or if I need to, you know, level up to some level or do something to get that. But both Mean Green and Big Red have the VODs. So if you're looking at the VODs, you're most likely on one of those two. Anyways, so I'm gonna put I'm gonna put one decision point there. In fact, it's almost like in the middle, and I could almost say that that's all I need to do it. Um, what I might do is, okay, so what I usually do is I determine where I want to put them, and then when I start making the pages, I will I will build out the pages, and then uh, I will execute it, do the put in the text or whatever, edit the rooms, and then by the way, um, sometimes I call them rooms, sometimes I call them pages, because eventually they will be actual rooms, like an adventure game, actual like change of scene or location. You can say what you want because not everything's a room in the sense that an actual room, but an outdoor location might be a room. But you could also say scene and stuff. But I called it room, so my data structures are as a room. Okay. Um. Anyways. So I was either going to do one or two spots, and one is probably okay. I'll see how many pages I have in there. I might decide to beef it up if um if it looks like too little of a pages. So like okay, so like this is gonna be 4 pages here, right? Now normally if I do a decision point in between, so then it starts a page. This is usually the last page in the title, and these are technically I technically call them titles, like they're like chapter subtitles, right? And so I might have pages in between, but sometimes, which was originally the way I wanted to do it, was in between story beats. So we'll go from one story beat to the next, and that's where you have the decision points. But that doesn't usually work out right. Story beat happens, and you're not usually playing in between the story beats. You're actually playing inside the story beat, right? You have your decision, you have your gameplay in that. So Um, but I'll do this first. I'll see how many there are. If there's not much more than I think my smallest one was like 13, and really all it really needs is a minimum of 10 or a maximum of 20 pages. I don't want any more than that per chapter. So we'll see how many of this gives us. So there's already 4 pages here. That leaves 16 or yeah, 16. Uh right? Yes, 16. It leaves 16 pages that I can use. So depending on, you know, in this case, I'll give you a for instance here. Um, they want to free her of the chains. Now, um, Hubert's magic's halfway. That means that if there's three different spells that he can try, and it will only work on say one of the shackles. In fact, that's probably how I'll set this up. And then John, I might need to come up with a couple of ways for John to come up with uh, for opening the other shackle. Um, so normally I do a max of 3 choices because they get exponential. So if I want to do a what I call a 15 page um, deal where basically you have 3 different options, and you want to hit all three of the options in any order, then I have to make 15 pages. So you have the initial page has three choices. Then each of those choices they have two remaining choices, and then each of the remaining choices have one final choice, and that results in 15. However, the way this is, it's just going to be um, this is just going to be like several different spells, I guess. So if you have several spells, that isn't going to branch like too much. In other words, um, let me think. In other words, I might have just a deal because they all three of them, or all five of them, or six of them, would, depending on how many I decide I want in there, all end up in the same way. They loose one of the shackles, right? Not the other one. So uh, that's only, let's say it's only five, and five and four, that's nine, and that's kind of too low for a chapter. None of these chapters are cutscene chapters. That is, I have pages which are story beats, which are cutscene story beats. For instance, the when he is trying to trick the guards into thinking that he's pulling a wagon full of food, then like that might be just a cutscene one. In other words, it's not gonna have he's not gonna try multiple spells, right? Whereas this, I'll have multiple spells. So, um, and especially with this being in between these are essentially also cut door cutscene deals. Unless I add in the part um, where how he finds a way into the wine cellar. Unless I decide to add multiple ones of those. Of course, um I try to lean toward four story beats per chapter. Um, Although there sometimes it can just be three, and sometimes there can be more than three. Oh, pardon me. So there's actually a lot of different places I could put these decision points. Then there's the other thing of the one where you have to do both, sort of like when you have to do all three options and get to all three options, but something similar to that, where um, where you're doing part. So um, and you can kind of do them in any order, but say there's a two part or there's a three-part spell. In other words, because Hubert only has half of his magic, maybe he does three different spells, and you need to combine all of them. That would actually still go along with the old 15. And actually, if I do that, I could still do that. In fact, maybe I should do that. Um, well, I don't know, because if I do that, I can have uh, 15 pages. 15 plus 4 is 19. That would be fine. But then John's not doing anything. And even though I don't have to have John do anything, uh, the part of the deal was that Hubert gets part of it right, and then John uh, gets the other part. and there'd be reasons like I could come up with an idea like there's a spell where you can phase through solid objects, right? And so what he do is he casts a spell on her to be able to phase through the shackles. Now, there's several problems with that. And I mean logically, games slash story wise, but she could partially phase through the shackle, and it could be partially inside of her hand, right? Which could be painful. If you're doing this realistically, it could be painful. If not, then she still wouldn't be able to get them off. In fact, it'd be even worse. The other thing is if you do some sort of a phasing through solid objects kind of deal, who's to say that she doesn't go through the floor or whatever, or it doesn't phase through her clothes or something. Actually, that probably wouldn't work that way. It would include her clothes. And I know I wasn't thinking about that as in seeing her naked. I was just thinking of like, there's so many ways it can go wrong with Hubert's halfway magic that he probably wouldn't try a phaser approach. Um, he might do a thing where he weakens them, and maybe John has to do something after that. I don't know. Actually, I have to come up with something though. That's kind of the problem. It's kind of usually my problem is coming up with having to come up with things that quote unquote out of whole cloth, right? Um, okay, so let's see something here. Okay, uh, but let's do this. Okay, and actually, I should go ahead and I forgot to open um Discord, which I should have done before, but that is okay, right? Okay, and then I gotta get back in the hang of this, because like I have like new stuff to learn now. So, mm, hey everyone. Okay, where's Rita? Rita. Streaming now. Well, maybe this is an off topic. Okay, so for link. Okay, because this isn't gonna get me multi-streaming isn't gonna get me more people, people on a single platform. For that, I have to actually work on. I have to start adding more visually interesting things. I have to start working seriously on thumbnails and yeah. So okay, so maybe he tries. So maybe he tries an unlock spell that's basically supposed to unlock the um. Anyways, okay, Some sort of unlock spell. It only unlocked one of them though, which is fine because John can take care of the other. And even that is going to not be that many pages. So I got somehow I got to beef it out a little bit. So, and this is actually a good idea, a good use case of an AI. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do Chat GPT, I guess. Oh, that's right. Maybe. Let's go here. Let's kind of hide this. Sometimes I don't know what I'm using or whatever, and so I should have opened it up. I should open everything up off screen. So I gotta remember that. Gotta remember opening stuff up off screen and then put it on screen. Okay, so okay. I'm done with working on chapters 8 and 10. Part of the same work. Would you like to hear it? Hear it? Ooh, that's kind of slow. That means I probably need to start a new conversation. Okay, fine. Why is it showing? Oh, I was wondering what this extra number is. I got 5 open. Um, 5 windows. Okay, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. So copy. We'll just put a dash there. Motel. Uh, E is the separator between chapters. B is where I'm thinking of creating a decision point. What say you? What say you? Okay. So, can you come up with ways that with spell ideas that would extricate Princess from her shackles / chains? Had Hubert had his full magic. Just really spell ideas. They don't have to even be like actual things from actual World Fantasy or anything. fettering translocation. That's just doesn't sound right. Dispensation. Okay. Actually, I like that. I could actually use that royal dispensation. The the shackles are embarrassed. So hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I was thinking about the um being able to be phased through solid objects. But there are several instances where this could go wrong or don't really work logically. You could fall out of your clothes. You could fall through the floor. Uh, since Hubert has only half his magic, um, she could partially phase through the shackles, meaning it gets stuck in her wrist. It doesn't work right. And honestly, I was thinking of the phasing thing. He has to spell over the both of them, so only one of them get the thing. So I could probably still do a phase through approach. Possibly because um, at least when he does it by twos, then it can only go halfway. In other words, it can only do one, and that could be a thing. Now, if he does another one on the lone single shackle, then it only goes halfway too. But she could also technically actually get out of that if it does it that ways. You know, I didn't think about that. He could conjure. Well, he could conjure a key, but it'd only be half a key. And hmm. um, yeah, the one way um phasing through solid would might work is because Hubert's magic is halfway. So if he casts a spell on two, it's most likely only to work on only one. If he casts now if there's a so I can take that into account. doesn't explode the rule book, keeping his. Yeah, and if he does it on one, it only works halfway, so she'd only be able to partially phase through it, and then that would be the catastrophic thing. So the idea is that he knows this, and so if he tries it, he would know that it should mostly be fine because it only works halfway. Part of the you might okay, I prefer this response. You might say rules of favorites first are that it's literally half of whatever he does. It's it's just you don't know what. You can conjure up a glass of orange juice. You may have a short glass, or you may have a mess. You just don't know. Um, the halfway part of it is actually whimsical as well. Not your standard, it just doesn't work. Although, I could have done it differently, where it just never works out like he plans. Ergo in ego. Ergo in Kroll attempted to turn I forget the character's name in Kroll. I just watched it too. Kroll. Prince Colin, that's right. It's into a goose and manages to turn himself into a goose. So his magic misfired, but it's not literally half of his magic. You doing professional? Mechanically furious orange juice have contained. Restraint removal, half the problem disappears. Transportation. Plan around unpredictable enough to fear. Let's Hubert be competent. Hubert intends. Princess unrestrained. He could cast a spell that would make the shackles appear. If he does it for both, that's only one, which is fine. But if he does it individually, maybe the shackles are only partly invisible. That still has a, say, hmm, that's similar to the phasing thing, but can get around potentially gruesome outcomes. But it also adds complexity. Well, once it's removed, once it's partially disappeared, how do you get it to come off? Maybe you can't even touch it or whatever. So there's like lots of little different problems, logical problems. They're mostly logic problems. I mean, you can say magically it does this, this, and this, but you kind of need a consistency. So Hubert's magic is halfway magic, so it literally manifests itself in half. So, but what half is the question. So, what if you have a thing that makes the shackles disappear, and part of them disappeared, and the other part did not? You know, and what that would mean is you could take off the shackle because it effectively removed the thing that was locked, keeping it locked, you know? Those questions you now have to answer forever at rules, slow pacing. Now, there's free plus. Start a free plus trial to keep the conversation going. If it doesn't end my conversation, then I don't have a problem here because as far as I know, ChatGPT still switches to a lower, lesser, or older model. A thing that also happened that is half of the one shackle is removed, which case the other half can simply fall off. Pardon me, excuse me. But that would imply that he cast a spell on the one individually. I'm just trying to think of all the different ways it can go wrong. That it's not gruesome, so that it doesn't not fit it within my deal, and then so that there's a logic to it, and so assuming we uh, assuming Hubert automatically does it for 2 just so that he's safe. Um, he could do a disintegration spell. Disintegration spell. What did I? This. Oh, with an E. Disintegrate. Okay, say integral integrate. I get it. So assuming does it for just for two, just so that he say if he could do a disintegration spell, then it could manifest one of two ways. It could disintegrate one shackle. Keep doing that. It could disintegrate one shackle, leaving the other. Or it can do a partial disintegration, because that would simply mean it loses some integrity, and then she may be able to break it herself. So that's actually one thing that I could do. I could do the disintegration spell. That actually still works without any kind of weird side effects. Integrity adds. Both shackles weaken, crack, or crumble at stress points. Prince can snap or slip free. Still not gruesome, still physical. And and also I can do a thing I did once before. That's that the player reader doesn't know what the outcome will be. So the choice will be um, I don't know how I would phrase this as far as making a choice, but I could make two hidden choices that do one or the other. I'd only have to phrase it specifically. Choose one, or I have to phrase it properly. Choose one or two to continue. Might work, but it's fairly dry and breaks immersion, I guess. Breaks consistency, breaks movie. Version. Immersion with an I. I'm usually pretty good at spelling, but lately missed the mark on several words now. Scope versus integrity. Oh, I see. Speed or control. I see. Spell emphasis. Hmm. Yes. Flavor text. B. Okay. Hit one. B. Constrained. Hit two if you want root. Go wild with just maybe. Kind of like stays cautious. I'm still putting in the hit one and hit two text. It's just I don't want to do either the same phrase, like hit one to cast the spell, hit two to cast the spell, or hit one or two to cast. Wait, maybe I can do that. Integration spell. Actually, that last one work. Disintegration. Actually, that's still work. This is just the event phase, so no actual real story. But I am still trying to make sure that it will be easy for me when I get to the narrative pass, event pass. Another thing was that John helps remove the second shackle while picking the lock. So I can actually do that on the one that disintegrates the single shackle. Um, in fact, that could also be the flavor text. One to have Hubert accidentally casts its integration. Hit 2 to have, okay, I'm gonna do shift enter. Hit 2 to have John on standby as Hubert casts the spell. Turn half magic random teamwork moment. Yeah. Okay, that's one. So that will work for that at least. I guess the other can be the unlock. So actually, there's a couple of spells and things you can do in here. Unlock spell. That can do the standard unlock one, and John still has to help. That's just a simple one, a simple one off. So let me do this in terms of counting pages here. That is. Oh, hey, Greg. Thanks for joining. Yeah, sorry, I didn't notice you there. I'm like deep in thought, and so my chat window, I'm using the social stream. Yeah, I'll just briefly show it here. Social stream Ninja plugin, and but I wasn't really paying attention. I was paying attention to my thing over here before I saw you. So, anyways, thanks for dropping by. I still have over 35 or over 30 minutes, about 35 minutes left on this session. So right now I'm in the middle of deciding how the decision points should go, and I also have to keep the pages in between 10 and 20. So this is for there's going to be there's going to be the one spell. It's going to be the disintegration spell, and so that's going to take like let me think. Um, it's going to take one page if it weakens, so she can just break the cuffs, and then another page if John goes to help, and then John has to figure out how to pick the lock of the other shackle. So um, so that would only also be one. So that would just be what did I say? 1 and 1, and then 1 and 2. That's only four. That's only four more pages. That isn't even that many pages. Not that I really need a lot, but I decided a chapter should have a minimum of 10 pages and uh, a max of 20. So if I can get past the 10 pages, uh, then that will probably work. That's probably the only decision point that I need in here. Although I can put it in a couple of other places. Um, like when they're trying to fool the guards and thinking there's a wagon there. That it's full of food stuffs. That could be a possible. There's also a possibility of Hubert finding a way into the wine cellar other than the door, which is supposed to be locked. So what he does is he tries to cast a spell, but since it doesn't work quite right, it only works halfway. Um, he manages to open a different passage into the wine cellar, and honestly, that's just a misfire. That's not even a halfway thing. Although I kind of I'm kind of a little bit loose on that. I usually keep it to exactly halfway, because that's what he's called. He's called Halfway Hubert. Halfway Harold was his original name, or Harold Halfway, or Hubert Halfway, depending on what I want to use. So that was part of the deal. I should almost make it a hard rule though, because that was supposed to be kind of the point. The point was that his magic only works partially, like literally, like literally partially. If it's two items, then it's only going to work on one item. It's only going to partially work on something. You don't know what partial means, though. You don't know how it's going to manifest, but it's going to be partial. So in order to keep things safe, he's safer doing something on pairs of things rather than a single thing, because pairs of things means at least one gets the spell. What am I? Oh, I'm hearing something outside. I wonder what I'm hearing. Anyways, okay. Anyways, thanks for the well wishing there, Greggy. Um, Greg. I don't know if you actually like being called Greggy or not, but okay. So at most that's only 4 pages. That means a max of only 8 pages. That's kind of not acceptable because a chapter needs to be a little bit meaty. Um, so I either need to add an extra like decision point, or I need to add more choices in there. So, anyways, that's four. If I add a another option, um, if I add another option, that's another page. That's only like a maximum of 9 pages so far. That's not exactly gonna work. I mean, I know I shouldn't have to worry about, some of the chapters can be small, and so they don't have to be like uniform size every time. I get that. I kind of get that. But for me, in order for a chapter to be useful, uh, it's got to have enough pages to give you some time with it. So that actually would be one page, and the second page that actually be 2 pages. So that'd actually be six. That still leaves us with only 10. That's just the bare minimum here. No thanks, but I'm still trying to figure out how to make sure there's enough pages to warrant a chapter. Should be a max page minimum of 10 and a maximum of 20. And while this gets to the bare minimum, I want at least a few more pages, which means more spells to try, or increasing, what was I going to say? Probably more spells, or an additional decision point elsewhere. So I already have two spells. I got Disintegrate, and we have Unlock, straight up Unlock. Okay, that leaves us about 10 pages. Oh. Add another small decision point. Yeah, the other thing is sometimes the spell that he tries, like the Unlock spell, might not work. How do I say it? Um, Depending on what you do, how do I think that? You might need a combination of a couple spells to actually get it right. Add more halfway Hebrew. Uh, Choosing how the group navigates Lapswood before they meet Unicorn. He also makes it to a new spell attempt is tied to a minor risk. Decision point can determine who intervenes. Every page is scene beat, magical attempt, or choice, consequences, description, minor flavor beats, or reactions count as pages too, but don't feel pressure to add any major plot events. Just hit a number. Hmm. Let me think. Let me think. Let me think. Let me think. Okay. Because the pick and lock of both shackles can be a thing. So that can actually be a third option. So what if I did those two, unlock or whatever, and then I did the pick the lock one, which is let's see, the pick the lock. It added another 2 pages, so that would hit 12. So far, I'm thinking 10 total pages for chapter 8. That is, I want more, but I'm thinking as it exists, it will be 10. Uh, uh, Actually, I kind of messed up there. Okay, just a second here. Okay. All right, all right, all right. Okay, so okay. Here, let me tell you how I came up with 10. So we have two choices: unlock spell or disintegrate spell. Okay. Unlock is straight forward, which gives and actually I got that wrong too. The 10 pages actually 10 might not be it. I have 4 story beats already. Two pages if you choose between unlock and disintegrate. Okay. Which gets us up to 6. Disintegrate has 2 ways to go and thus 2 pages. Takes us up to 8. It's not enough to sustain a chapter in the game. So you can see where your search right now. Your search is basically a person. This guy has 2 outcomes. Magic variants. Uh, Additional decision points. Expand current pages with the reaction flavor. Yeah, disintegrate has 2 outcomes. Yeah, so you disintegrate. It weakens it. She can snap them both. Done. Uh, if it only does one of them, then John will take care of the other one. Okay. Use submission format. No thanks. I'm still thinking this through. Okay. So one thing I thought of is if I can come up with multiple ways to pick the locks, I'm gonna be picking the lock. Oh. So if John can pick one lock, he can pick both locks. So that can be an additional 2 pages. Additional page? That could be an additional page. So pick the lock. Hubert disintegrates forecasts and unlocks stuff. So when Hubert is successful, when Hubert's successful, then John has to help anyway. Granted, he could have done this in the first place. But that's kind of okay. That's kind of okay. Other than the fact that most likely will choose the path of least resistance and go for the lockpicking. You're right, most players are 2 clean outcomes, 1 extra page. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, some people might pick Hubert because by now they should know how successful his magic is and want to see the outcome. So we have the only possible issue, and perhaps not worth worrying about until if and when, if or when I get to that phase, is putting a bunch of effort into animations and whatnot, only to have most people choose the simpler option. I guess I don't really need to worry until I get there. So, find draft choices without committing to your implementation. What you get? Okay. Animations are way later in several phases down the line. This hasn't even gotten to full non-interactive yet. It will turn into a full text adventure with verb, action, subject, commands, type in. But it's still something I need to keep in mind. Okay, I'm almost getting to the point of where I can start working on this one. Okay, so let's count this up. For existing pages, 3 choices. Pick the lock, keyword, cast, unlock, spell. Keyword, cast, disintegrate, spell. Um, 7 pages. Disintegrate 2 pages. Okay, total of 9. Did I forget any? Um, John picks the remaining block 1 page. Here it casts the unlock spell. No, it's 9 because let me go ahead and put this here. Actually, it's kind of funny because this is helping me to be able to narrow down to just the basic what happens, not even any extra detail. Okay. Let's do it like this. Okay, 1, approaching the hotel, getting into the kitchen. 2, Hubert gets thrown into the wine cellar. Okay. 3, they leave the hotel out the kitchen doors, or they start to get chased by the night. That's 4 pages total right there. Original story beats. Now, in between 2 and 3, there are 3 choices. Five. Okay. 5. John picks both locks. 6. Hubert casts unlock. Oh. 7. Hubert casts disintegrate spell. Two more pages. 1. Okay. 8. Disintegrate works on 1. John has to pick the other. 9. Disintegrate weakens, and so the princess has to pick the other. 9. Disintegrate weakens, so the princess can merely snap them off. Okay. That's a total of 9. That's a total 9. And I think I'm still right. In the hotel out the kitchen doors. John picks both locks. Hubert casts the unlock spell. Hubert has disintegration spell. Disintegrate works on 1. John picks the other. Disintegrate partially works. So 1. Lines it perfectly what you just outlined. So now chapter 8 is just under the bare minimum. If your floor it is 10 pages, we could squeeze more minor beat or flavor page somewhere. Okay. I have one possible added complication, but is not necessary for this. Oh, welcome. Is it Paularius Cats? Yeah, welcome. Welcome to the stream. Uh, yeah, awesome. I'm doing fine, and I'm building a game, which is why I'm streaming. So, if you're interested in seeing somebody build a game, even the boring parts, there's going to be plenty of boring parts here. Uh, Unfortunately, though, I'm supposed to take my break here in just a few minutes at 1 o'clock. I go from 11:30 to 1, and then I take a break for an hour, and then I go from 2 to 2 to 3:30 my time, which is Eastern U.S. time. So if you're in UK, uh, it's like what is it, 5 hours? 4:30, 4:30 to 6, and then 7 to 8:30 in the UK. So you can extrapolate based on those if you're in the U.S. or if you're in Europe. Or if you're in India, actually, India is like 9.5 hours ahead. So add 9.5 hours to my U.S. times, and then you can determine that. Okay. But it's not necessary. I have one impossible added complication, so not necessary to utilize it. And that she's also chained. So generally speaking, um, it can be a thing to add some extra work to it, or can just be simply they can get her out as long as she gets the shackles. I want to put a C in the shackles for some reason. Because there's already a C in there, but as long as she gets the shackles off her hands first. Um, okay. Another place to add a decision point is finding the alternate way into the wine cellar. So basically, the door is locked except when the fake princess comes down to take some wine, or the guards order it. So they see her and the guard down the stairs. So, and then Hubert casts a spell, and instead of opening the door, instead of unlocking the door, in the door, it happens to open a secret passage that maybe hasn't been seen in ages. Of course, I'm bending the explicitly halfway logic here a bit. In any case, okay. Okay. I'll think it over. I need to break now. It's sluggish. I'll have to start a new conversation here pretty soon. Okay. So I want to say thanks to everybody who popped in, even for just for a moment. Thanks. What's it? Polarius Cats dash X8Q. I don't know what that X8Q part about is about, but oh, anyways. Thanks for popping in, and uh, if anybody cares to, I will be back in an hour. Thank you for watching part 1.